Hello and welcome to another video. For those of you who are new here, hi, my name is Kian and I have just finished my second year of medical school, which means I am halfway through med school. Normally I make vlogs about the med student life to try and shed some light on what it actually is like to be a medical student. However, today I wanted to talk about the general roadmap of what medical school looks like, as well as talk about some lessons that I have learned during my first 2 years in med school. Around the world, there are many different models of medical school. However, in North America, where I am located, we generally follow a 4-year medical school program. However, before attending medical school, you are usually required to complete at least 3 years of an undergraduate degree. Most people end up doing all 4 years so that they can have a full bachelor's degree. Following this, you enter medical school, which is typically 4 years, and these 4 years are broken down into 2 years of preclinical work, where you're doing lectures to learn basic physiology, anatomy, and pathology, and then this is followed by 2 more years of clinical work. The 3rd year of medical school is the first clinical year, and this is when you rotate through all of the basic specialties of medicine. And then during the 4th and final year of medical school, this is when you get to choose electives based on specialties that you are interested in. A large part of 4th year in Canadian medical school is dedicated to applying to something called CARMS, which stands for the Canadian Residency Matching Service. And part of the CARMS process is interviewing at various schools where you will potentially pursue a residency. And near the end of 4th year, we find out which residency we matched to. The matching process is very complicated. However, the basics of it is that all of the medical students will rank the residency programs that they are interested in, and then residency programs will rank all of their applicants. Both of these rankings will be put into a computer system, and an algorithm will try to calculate who is matched into what, and hopefully it means that everyone is happy and people get into the residency they want. In theory, it sounds like a great system. However, unfortunately, every year some Canadian medical graduates go unmatched. Anyways, let's move on to things that I have learned during my preclinical years. So the first thing I learned is that having a growth mindset is the key to being successful, but also being happy in medical school. So if you haven't heard about a growth mindset, it is basically having the mentality that you can improve by working hard and you can improve from feedback. And the opposite of a growth mindset is a fixed mindset, and people with a fixed mindset tend to think that intelligence is something that you were born with and it's not something that you can build through hard work. The fixed mindset is detrimental in the fact that receiving feedback or being told you are wrong is associated with feelings of shame and worthlessness, and it also detracts from your ability to work hard for something. However, the growth mindset, on the other hand, is you thrive when you're told you're wrong, and when challenges arise, you tend to see it as an opportunity for growth and learning. And I'll be honest, I definitely think on the spectrum of growth mindset to fixed mindset, I entered med school with quite a fixed mindset. For me, the hardest part is receiving feedback. My self-esteem was very delicate, so I'm hoping in 3rd year I can have more of a growth mindset. It'll just be so much happier if you're able to take criticism and feedback as a way to become better, because that's the journey of medicine. It's lifelong learning. You're just trying to get better. A really cool thing about the growth mindset is by just learning that it exists and learning what the growth mindset is, helps you have more of a growth mindset. I know, that's kind of weird, but the brain is really cool. The second thing I want to talk about is medical school and money. I don't think this is talked about enough, and it's hard to make this completely generalizable just because the cost of medical school is variable across the country as well as around the world. However, there are a few things that are underlying themes. So first thing is, it's really hard to make enough money in medical school to offset the cost of tuition as well as the cost of living. I would venture to say it's basically impossible unless you're some amazing entrepreneur, but as like a normal medical student doing med school things, the best thing you can aim for is to decrease the rate at which you dig your hole of debt. So first thing you can do is save ahead of time. However, this is really challenging to do because most of the time you're coming out with debt from your undergraduate degree. Second thing you can do is try and earn money in medical school by doing med school related things. In my opinion, the easiest and best ways to earn money in ways that help build your CV and build your future is to do research and get research grant money, get research internships, get paid for your research. And second is to apply for scholarships and bursaries and get money that way. Other than that, there are two main ways to pay for medical school. One is the student line of credit, and the second is student loans. Third thing I want to talk about is mental health in med school. Ooh boy. In my personal experience and in my observation, I felt like med school would bombard us with wellness lectures in times when it really wasn't that helpful, like a few weeks before an exam, and you feel like I could just use this hour to study or have a bath or go for a run, and that would do me so much more than being forced to attend a lecture about how we should be taking care of ourselves. That's my personal opinion, and I don't mean to undermine the efforts of medical schools that are giving wellness lectures, but I just feel like a lot of people are willing to talk at you about wellness, but nobody's really willing to talk to you about wellness, and the onus is always on the medical student to reach out if they need help. Like, they'll stand in front of all 300 students and be like, wellness is important, but like nobody will actually check in with you like one-on-one, be like, hey, are you doing okay? Two things I would highly recommend for your general wellness and happiness and well-being in medical school is if your school offers the course called Healer's Art, take it. It's amazing. At our school, it was optional, but basically it is a course designed to foster resilience in medical students and create this resilience toolbox for you for when you start practicing medicine. The second thing I would recommend is taking the Science of Wellbeing from Coursera. It is a Yale course. It is free, and it's basically the science of happiness plus daily exercises you can do to rewire your brain just to be happier and more fulfilled. I love it. It is so evidence-based. There's so much psychology. There's a lot of positive psychology. I am on week 7 of 10 weeks. Just even if you're not in med school, I don't know, like even if you're not unhappy, just take the course. It will make your life better. Fourth thing I learned is your social circles will experience a bit of a shift just because you have so much time dedicated to med school and med school things. You're going to form some really amazing lifelong friendships with people in medical school. And for me, I did personally find it harder to maintain some of my like non-med school friendships. It's definitely something that I'm working on more now. But yeah, it can definitely be hard because you're starting this new chapter of your life. You're meeting all these new people with so many similar passions and interests, and they just relate to so much of your life because you have so much in common by just being in medical school. All right, fifth and final lesson is that networking and getting along with people is just as important as having content knowledge about medicine. So much of your evaluations are very subjective, and I think it's really just down to how much the preceptor liked you. I know that that sounds horrible, but that's the reality of medicine. Nobody wants to hire you or take on a resident if you are like impossible to work with or you're not very kind. People are generally just looking for someone who's hardworking, someone who's respectful, and someone they get along with. So make an effort to get along with your preceptors, and I think it will show in your evaluations. I wish it wasn't that subjective, but I can honestly say some of my best evaluations came from the people that I got along best with. But I think that's also a byproduct of the fact that you're more willing to engage in conversation, ask questions, and have a learning environment if you've created a space for yourself where you feel comfortable with your preceptor and they feel comfortable teaching you. So as you know, for me, the next step is third year clerkship. I am excited. I'm not nervous yet, but I will be nervous the first night before the first rotation. I think part of me worries that I don't remember anything from the first 2 years. I'm excited to take you with me. I hope to continue vlogging about the med school experience and sharing tips and tricks of things that worked really well for certain rotations and things I did to prepare, as well as things that didn't go so well. So if you're interested in seeing those vlogs, be sure to subscribe because I am starting third year very soon.